Hello everyone, this is zero point 0.2 decimal operations. Today your objective is that students will be able to perform operations with decimals. That's including addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. The first problem that we have, 38 hundredths plus 1 and 934 thousandths is set horizontally or side by side. We're going to set these up vertically so that we can find those decimal places and line them up. It is only ever necessary to line up the decimal for addition and subtraction. Write that down. The second thing that I want you to notice is that we have an empty place value in the top number 38 hundredths. We want to fill in a 0, since there's nothing there, above the 4. I only need to do that in that one place because it was a 4 with an unmatched number. Now every place value in both numbers is lined up with another number and we can add them up. 0 plus 4 makes 4, 8 plus 3 makes 11, 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 9 is 13, and 1 plus 0 plus 1 is 2. And then the reason I lined up the decimal was so that I could bring it straight down. So our final answer is 2 and 314 thousandths. Just like lining it up, we bring the decimal straight down for addition and subtraction only. Now, when I'm subtracting, there are a couple of different scenarios that I need to pay attention to. Scenario number 1, all place values match up with another number. I've lined my decimal places up and I can start subtracting. I'm always starting to subtract from the right hand side. So looking here, I have 1 minus 2. I need to borrow a single from the 4. So I'm going to take away 1 from the 4, making it a 3. And I'm going to put that 1 out in front, making it 11 minus 2, which is 7. Then 3 take away 3 is 0, and 0 take away 0 is 0. I bring my decimal straight down. The second scenario is a little bit different, but again, we have to line up the decimals because it's subtraction. So we're going to first write down the first number that came, 1 and 3/10, take away 1 and 186 thousandths. I need to line up that decimal. Notice that the place value above 8 and 6 are empty. We're going to fill in zeros there. I'm not going to take away from 0. So if I start by looking at 0 minus 6, I can't do that. So I'm going to look once to the left. I cannot borrow 1 from 0, so I have to look to the left one more time. I can borrow 1 from 3. When I take that 1 away, my 3 becomes a 2. The 1 goes in front of the first 0. Now I can borrow from that number. It was 10. I borrow 1, which it becomes 9, and I bring that 1 over to the 0 that needs it right now. 10 take away 6 is 4. 9 take away 8 is 1. 2 take away 1 is 1. Decimal place comes straight down. 1 minus 1 is 0. Our answer is 114 thousandths. Our last example says 32 minus 5 and 56 hundredths. If I just look at this number, if I look at 32, there's not a decimal place showing. Anytime there's not a decimal place shown in the number, it goes at the end. So when I go to vertically line up this problem, 32 minus 5 and 56 hundredths, I write down the number 32 and at the end put a decimal. I go to write down 5 and 56 hundredths and I line up that decimal directly below, noticing that now I need to fill in some empty place values above the 5 and the 6 with a 0. Now again, we have this borrowing issue. I look once to the left, I can't take 1 from 0. I look to the left again, I can take 1 from 2. The 2 becomes a 1, and I place the one I borrowed in front of the 0. I still need to borrow to the end of my number, so that 10 becomes a 9, and my last 0 becomes a 10. 10 take away 6 gives me 4. 9 take away 5 gives me 4. 1 take away 5 I cannot do. So now I need to look to the left again, take 1 away, making that a 2, and I put my 1 out front. Now I have 11 minus 5, which is 6, and 2 take away nothing is still 2. Bring my decimal straight down. 26 and 44 hundredths. The next thing we're going to look at is multiplying. When you multiply, the total number of decimal places in your multipliers are the numbers being multiplied. Okay, the total number of decimal places in your multipliers is the number of digits after the decimal in your answer. Well, that was a mouthful. So if you look at this first one, I have 2 multipliers. In this top number, 58 hundredths, I have 2 decimal places. My bottom number, there are no digits after the decimal. So my total number of decimal places here is going to be a 2. I'm going to write that down there. My second example, 3 and 46 hundredths times 7 tenths, has a total of 3. 2 coming from the first multiplier and 1 coming from the second multiplier. So I'm going to write that 3 down here so I remember 3 decimal places. All right, now when we're multiplying, this is going to be just like we multiplied in class today, where you're not going to worry about the whole thing. We're going to go one at a time. Our first problem has 2 digits being multiplied, and so we're going to have 2 rows below. I'm going to start with 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. I don't worry about this 0 out front because there's no more numbers in front of it, and 0 times anything is still 0. Notice also that I've left the decimal alone for right now. We're going to move down and multiply by the 1. When we write our answer, we're going to put it below the 1. So 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 5 is 5. And again, I don't worry about the 0 out in front. So we're going to add those together. 6 plus nothing is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. 5 plus 1 is 6. And here's where I'm now going to put my decimal in. Remember that 2 represented the number of digits after the decimal. So I need to take and put a decimal into 696 right here, because now I have 2 digits, 96, after the decimal. Our final answer, 6 and 96 hundredths. Something I want to point out about example number 2 is that the decimals are not lined up, and they shouldn't be. We only line up decimals with multiplication and, with addition and subtraction. So in this case, I'm going to take, and you see there are 2 digits here, so we're going to make our first row for a 7. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 4 is 32. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 is 24. Now, if I were to move over and multiply by 0, everything would be 0, and it would not change the values here. So I don't need to multiply by that 0. There's no other value in front, so we're done. But again, I had 3 decimal places, meaning I need 3 digits after the decimal in my answer. I'm going to place it here, leaving me with 422 after the decimal. Final answer, 2 and 422 thousandths. Now, earlier today in class, you saw that if I have a decimal within my dividend, I bring it straight up. This problem's already worked out. 1 and 75 hundredths divided by 5, and it gave me 35 up top, but since I have that decimal inside, I bring it straight up. Nothing's different about the way that I divide compared to the long division problems from earlier. However, what if I gave you a problem that looked something like this? 42 divided by 3/10. In this case, we always want the divisor to be whole. Meaning there are no digits after the decimal place. And so, in order to make it whole, we're going to move the decimal to the right to make the divisor whole. In this case, I only need to move it 1 time. Then, move the same number of times inside. Remember, if it's a whole number, the decimal's at the end, and I'm going to move it 1 time to match what's outside. It's an empty place value, and the empty place values we can fill with a 0. The problem now says 420 divided by 3, and you continue with long division as normal. 3 goes into 4 1 time. 1 times 3, subtract and bring it down. Bring your next place value down. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract and I get 0. Bring down my next place value. It's a 0. Now notice that this spot right up here is still empty. I have to fill in every place value above my dividend. And so we need to say 3 goes into 0 0 times. 140 is our answer there.